and pretty much Todd won't be able to win at that point. So at this point, he makes an interesting TP choice. I generally TP on top of the towers. That's just me. I take those out ASAP because when two of them get up, it's pretty much over. That's what I hate. But actually, pretty good TP position. Obviously, he's grubby, so he ends up with a pretty good deal off of this, especially when you have mass raiders. And really, all you have to do is, like, when you're about to TP in, just start, like, ensnaring units that are running away, because then when you land, they'll just ensnare it automatically, and pretty much half their army won't be able to move. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that you can pretty much screw someone over by making a good TP, and you can also really screw yourself over by making a bad TP. So obviously, Todd, I didn't really mention much about this, but he did make his tower push at an opportune time. He had a whole bunch of gold stacked up before he went into high upkeep, which is an important factor to remember, is that when you're going into high upkeep, you really want a lot of gold or an expo or two, and you still need, some gold. So, if you're going to be doing a tower push, make sure you bank money, and then if you go straight into high upkeep, militia over, obviously you're going to lose a couple units in the tower push, so then you'll go back up to low upkeep, which is never too bad a thing if you have an expo. You might as well stay in there for the whole time. Generally, if I have like a fast expo, I don't even bank and just head straight into low upkeep. It's probably a bad idea, but whatever. The great thing to do, especially with chain wave, which is why tower pushing against a Farseer is never like that popular of a choice, is that peasants die so quickly to chain wave. I love it. Anyways, you will notice that Todd militiaed all the way across the map, just a tower push. This is a style choice, I guess. Some people will just bank it out and go for the mass griffins with a whole bunch more towers, and really what you end up doing is just massing air and massing your own towers and just kind of playing the late game and trying to make sure that their heroes don't level up to outweigh yours, because if they have like 3 level 5 heroes and you have 3 level 5 heroes, they're going to win just because they have the Brilliance Aura and they have the Water Elementals, which kind of suck. And they absorb so much damage. But yeah, basically, right now what Grubby's actually going to be doing is trying to finish off Todd's, buildings, his income buildings and things like farms, while Todd tries to finish off his base, and really you need to be taking out the burrows and the bestiary and the spirit lodge, because he doesn't have the tech anymore, so he really can't use that advantage. So yeah, you really want to get rid of those just so that they can't build any more units. War mills, whatever, Voodoo Lounge, you can just leave that, because it's not like they're gonna run through your army just to get to the Voodoo Lounge. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that some buildings are dispensable. So yeah, also don't attack defended footies with Wind Riders. That's just one thing to keep in mind. I mean, that didn't just happen, but you can lose a lot that way. I know, it's sad, I've done that before. Anywho, right now army compositions are fairly standard. I mean in ratio, not in size. Obviously Grubby's army is huge compared to Todd's, but you can never underestimate those water elementals, and generally a human with a bunch of breakers is deadly. Breakers are actually one of the most deadly units against Orc, especially mixed with Sorks, because they counter pretty much Spirit Walkers, Chain Wave, Raiders. All they don't counter is Grunts and Kodo Beasts, and really Grunts die pretty fast to slow focus, and Kodo Beasts just die to water elemental focus. So it's kind of win-win to mass a whole bunch of breakers, especially because they provide pretty good meat. They have pretty decent armor. So obviously Grubby makes the TP here, and what he's really trying to do is he's going to be stalling out Todd. You will be thinking, well, he's engaging in a battle right now, but look at this, he's speed scrolling away, and really what he did with the TP was he kind of TP'd in kind of a defensive position. And what I mean by that is he kind of TP'd into a spot where he can easily get out and get back in again to save his expo. And obviously, he has the money advantage because, Todd doesn't have any income. And, you can milk that kind of advantage like as far as possible. And if you can do that, you can pretty much win games 100%. I'm not going to say 100%. I mean, a lot of people can pull miracles. I mean, most of my games that I win are like major comebacks, but whatever. So yeah, basically, timing wasn't really that much of an issue in this game, but generally, the timing that you want to rely on is that if they set up a fast expo, kind of pressure them, but make sure that you get tier 2, and when you get tier 2 and you get your first couple raiders, that's when you pressure 100%. Grubby's going to make a nice little move here. He's going to go for the chain wave, and then, oh no, the MK's getting away, and he uses the mana stone and gets him at the verge of the shockwave. Very nice move. That's one thing to keep in mind is items that you have. So, obviously, it didn't look like that close of a game, but it really was, because if you look at all the resources, I mean, sure, Grubby outmined him, but Todd had him outmined for most of the game, and he did actually go into high upkeep. So, if you look at the largest army, he did go into 87 food, so that's pretty vicious. But yeah, as I was saying, timing. As the orc player, basically, you want to back off when they start getting, a couple breakers, actually. If they have a couple sorcerers or whatever, pick them off with your wolves and your chain wave, because obviously you're going to have that by the time you do that. Otherwise, if you have a level 1 Farseer and a level 1 Tauren Chieftain, by the time you push through Sorceress army, you're really not going to get many kills. Wolves are just going to drop like flies because of water elementals. So yeah, kind of make sure that you have level 2 by the time you actually push their newly formed tier 2 army. But when they start getting breakers, that's the time to start easing off the push and trying to focus on, your creeping, because breakers allow for mobility. I mean, sure, and snare or whatever, but they're a huge meat shield. They do a lot of damage. And when they start upgrading their casters and stuff, not only do caster upgrades rule, because it gives them more HP, and mana, so you pretty much end up with more beefed up casters, which is why I like to go tier 3 a bunch of times, just because chain wave can get that vicious, and not having any sorcerers at all is kind of a bum out, because then your hero dies to wolf focus and you can't slow. It sucks. And you can't invis, which blows. Human timing, basically, turtle, creep as much as possible. Pretty much don't lose your hero early game, otherwise it's downhill from there, because you won't really have much of base defense. I mean, your base defense kind of relies on militia and water elementals, and militia on their own, no, they die so fast. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. And basically, you can tower push an orc whenever if they go Blade Master. I've seen people tower push like instantly and get wins. I've seen them tower push at like 80 food and get wins against the Blade Master. Just kind of sucks when they have Blade Storm. So yeah, careful of that. I don't often tower push. In fact, I don't tower push unless I'm like Night Elf against human. I know that sounded weird. Sometimes I zig push against a human. That's always funny with the Fire Lord. People complain about the crap, and you're like, well, you mass towers all the time, and they're like, shut up. So yeah. I don't really have any more tips. If you're facing mass towers, once again, just kind of contain them and try and get your own expos up. Hit tier 3 as soon as possible and get the reinforced upgrades, because if you don't and they out-expo you, they're going to burrow snipe you to pieces when they get like 1 or 2 griffins even. Or they can just run onto your base, snipe 1 or 2 burrows while you're TPing in, and then they TP out and they make a nice TP trade, and since Lost Temple's huge, you have to buy the TP back anyways. It's like a condom, safety first. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end the audio off here. Thanks for listening. Peace out.